Dora. Now mine was Blue's Clues when I was a kid.
I love
We didn't have Dora the
Mine
Explorer.
was also Blue's Clues, and it was awesome.
Mail call.
We just got a letter.
We just got a letter. We just got
Oh,
a
dude, I
letter.
still
I
need to
wonder
celebrate.
who it's from.
What scares me is
From the
I remember watching Gumball on the. I remember.
I need a long sleeve polo, which I always
letter?
thought was an awkward fashion choice.
Jacob, you remember watching The Incredible
Letters
Film?
from the lawyer.
Yeah, I do.
The letters from the lawyer. It's a subpoena. I have to go to court.
We did. Or you see,
It's like, this is copyrighted.
Jury duty. What the? How funny of an episode was that? Okay, kids, let's learn about jury duty.
Don't think of that. I got evicted.
Somebody really.
Oh, it's
This is a
like
missed opportunity of like spoof on Blue's Clues. All right. I love it. This is all
Wait,
recorded.
Mr.
I am a failure as a
Mr.
teacher.
Hudson,
Yes.
you can dress you up as the guy, and then you can.
We can like make my classroom the Blue's Clues house. Big chair.
Yes.
I don't remember that. Blue's Clues.
Okay. What?
Navy.
I'm trying to think of a different name. Like instead of Blue's Clues,
Red clues.
like
Navy Marine Blue.
green tints, something like that.
Mint hints.
Mint hints. That's great. All right. What questions from the worksheet from last night? Nidden.
11.
Leaven.
Why 11?
Unleavened bread versus leavened
11
bread.
was
What?
not a bad one.
Oh yeah, 11. I didn't know how to get the others.
11 wasn't bad.
All right. So
It was bad, and then I realized it was just.
this
I don't know how you did that.
might be the linchpin to the problem.
Oh.
You have a diameter.
Jacob just told me what
Oh, I know this one.
Yeah,
I did
you have
this
a
one. I got
diameter.
it.
Wait, what's the diameter?
So
I
the
got it.
linchpin to this problem is that that diameter arcs out 180 degrees, right? So this arc down here would be 80
How do you know that?
because the diameter arcs 180 degrees.
That makes sense.
That was a lot faster.
And from there, we could also find that this is 140.
That's not how I did it.
There are multiple ways. Oh, well,
I
almost.
I did this way too complicated, but like I did this first. And the rest of
The
it.
external things and all
That's diameter.
Wait, so
I forgot this was the broken story. Yes. I thought we were going down.
Just like when you go on the stairs and you're already on the top
Yes,
of the
and you
stairs,
think there's
but-
another
yeah,
stairs.
and then you just like fall.
Actually, one of our 7th graders hurt himself falling down the stairs. So it is a very dangerous
I fell
thing.
down the stairs when I was like 2.
I jumped
Fun,
down the stairs
actually.
thinking I was Superman.
It's pretty fun.
Okay, so beyond,
I thought
once
I
we
could
know
fly,
that's
so
a
I jumped down
diameter,
the entire
do
stairway.
we still have
Twice.
issues?
Once we know that that's the diameter, what do you do from there?
Anyone want to help?
Yeah, I know.
I don't even know what.
Once you got all the arcangles, what do you do from there?
I know how you
Chris?
do it.
Can I come up? Because the way I did it is
No,
really
you can never.
complicated and terrible.
It really complicated and terrible.
It looks like.
Did you do the thing that I did?
It looks
Probably.
So we're
Is
going to
this
use,
calibrated right?
yeah, it's pretty close. We're going to use the inscribed angles with the intercepted arcs to derive the other angle measures inside.
How did you get that to 100?
That's not 100.
It is, and he makes it.
You made
That's 100.
Oh, you made a new
And he
line.
made 100 degrees.
I
Okay.
didn't see the new
I'm
line.
fine with that. Now again, multiple ways, right? So let's let Chris process his way, and then we can show it other if we want.
So that's 100. And then. This one.
I feel like you're making this more complicated than it needs to be.
Yes.
But that's okay. Well, if it works, sure.
So. Then this is 80. But then.
Then you get one.
So. Because I made a bunch of triangles.
Chris, you didn't need to do this.
Made a bunch of triangles. These are both
He's
radii, so
confusing me even more.
These are both radii, so this is 40. 40.
Great eye.
I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't remember
Mine-
what I did.
You got it.
Yeah, I'm sure there
You're
is.
so
I think
far
Chris
away
just
from
put
the
a box
box.
and a shredder and just like, Lynn's over here saying we're outside the box, and Chris is like, box?
No,
He's so
You're
far.
kidding, it's a sphere.
He's so far away from the box.
No, I get it though, but also it's not
Jacob,
like
please
multiple
help us.
choice. Like,
Okay.
it doesn't give us multiple choice.
Thomas, you're the life raft.
If you
If
break
Jacob
it-
The
is-
two lines coming from here.
I made
that
17
means that this
different
angle is
triangles.
50 degrees.
That's what I was saying.
And then the two coming from here, this is 40.
So remember the
Since it's a little
inscribed,
triangle,
That should
that's
be 20.
one.
No, it should be
Oh wait, no,
20 now.
whoops, 20.
inscribed.
So then, shut up.
Stop the box.
So then X is 110.
Why is this a thing?
Because
Why
that's
He
do
how
goes
it's
that but a
supposed
bit
to work.
more slow.
So
That teaches you.
may I teacherify this because you're all
Yeah.
student-fying it of like, look, I get this, and you're so dumb.
So,
So what we just talked about
You literally said
yesterday,
you're dumb.
which is still a skill that's new, the trapdoor. Don't think that I can use this angle and the arc that it intercepts, because that's not where the rule goes. It either needs to be from the center or on the edge, right? So this is an inscribed angle relating to this arc, which circle rules tell us that any inscribed angle, as opposed to central angle, is half its inscribed arc. If it came from the middle out, it would be 40.
Oh,
It
that
would
makes
be the measure of the arc because we look like rotational openings, right? Circles have 360 degrees. I mean, we can derive back to all that. So once I know that that's 20, and or I can do that with any of them. So this inscribed arc of 100 leads back to this angle, 50. I can then derive this angle, which is vertical to that angle, right? So 70. This has to be 110. Cool.
Yes.
Cool. Thomas.
I'm confused about 14, specifically A and B.
Good,
Yeah.
because that was a challenging problem.
Wait, B.
Yes, B.
I got B.
Good for you, son.
You literally got B with it.
You literally got B with me.
Toby just told me to leave.
Look at the
Okay, so you said A and B?
Yeah.
We probably should just do all of these. Well, C, we talked about how we do that relationship.
Because A was fine.
Now wait, A was fine. So how was A fine?
How
You
is
can
the
keep-
difference between the arcs?
So what do you mean talk us through?
What?
You spoke up.
Alright.
For which
Want me
one?
to go up there?
Yeah, that'd be great. Lauren's gonna talk us through A.
Laura?
Lauren.
Lauren.
foolish
There's
movie.
no Laura here.
We've gone to school for 2 years, Lauren.
No, you said.
You've been going to school for 2 years.
Okay, so we know that half of x minus 52 is going to equal our 37 because that's just like rules of arcs. He brushed over it for like 10 seconds yesterday.
Yeah,
It's all in your text.
So
He said it as he was
yeah.
like walking back to his desk. So then we can
Why
get
does the 52 come into play?
the 52
Oh,
is
you-
here. You do
You
like
subtracted.
the big arc minus the little arc. And then you get x minus 52 equals, I don't want to do math, 74. And then you can just do some nice x equals 126. That didn't work.
So take a moment to let this sink into your head. The rule Lauren's referencing is dealing with the fact that those arcs are going to have a particular relationship based off how big that exterior angle is. But we know that the arc further away is going to be bigger. That just makes sense. So it creates this weird little half the difference between them is that exterior angle. It's one of those weird circle rules. It always holds true.
Stupid.
Circle is not my hateful.
That's so dumb. Why does
So-
that do that?
We're going to take more time to investigate through all this stuff after the test. Chris.
Chris has left the lobby.
But I wanted to make sure we had some exposure to these rules as just like this holds true. It does. Now we'll look at the why right? I don't want to spoon feed all that. We'll take time to investigate. But yeah, we're jumping around here. It's okay to be slightly frustrated by this, but this always holds true. Half the difference of the arcs will be that exterior angle. Now, another way we could justify this, try other angles that we know things about, like a 45 or a 90 or things like that. So think about if you make a 90-degree exterior angle. Yeah, that'd be weird.
That would be weird.
It wouldn't.
It'd be like
It wouldn't touch it.
everything.
Yeah, it would.
Okay,
It
not
depends on where you have them.
from
You
that
got
one.
Does this make sense now
Oh, I
that
think I get
Lauren
it. Okay,
told
I
us
think
to
I
do?
get it. So wait, hold on. So if you were to draw it, it'd be like 90-degree angle and then the circle in the middle, and then the 52 would then instead be 90,
Nice one.
and the X would be like 270 or whatever. Yeah, 270, and then you minus it to get the other angle.
What do we know about tangent lines?
They create.
They create 90-degree angles.
Use a square.
So what do we know about this arc?
It's 90 degrees.
It's 90, which means this arc is
270.
well, to make this equal our outside angle, what do we have to do? We gotta half it.
Okay.
Now B.
Now, B.
Be what?
I don't even know
Yeah.
anyone.
Be happy?
Okay, I thought it was
I-
8. I thought it was 8. That's
It's
not
not
the
8.
answer. It was not 8.
It's not 8.
I watched the video. I reread the textbook. I don't know.
By the way, for what it's worth, I appreciate and I want to say thank you for you guys being you guys. My 7th graders are getting that like teen angsty, like they're tired of each other and they it's kind of like,
Oh,
We are tired of
They
it.
don't-
Jacob,
yeah, but-
I'm going to.
But you guys can laugh about it, whereas they're just like mad at each other about it. Like some of them are just having some 2D issues.
So which one of you snobs got the U.S.?
Anyone try to Google this?
Yes.
So I want to
Google it up
empower you guys.
Because
I internet explored.
I have
30 at night, and I was
12.5.
I asked Jeeves.
I'm tired. I
I
asked
asked
it.
well, from
No one
Alpha.
asks Jeeves.
So if you go to Wolf
Five.
Alpha, you could probably find this easily.
What do we? So what?
I don't know.
How could we Google this?
Circle.
Image
Practice
search.
test question 14 part B.
Yeah, except I made this test, so that's not going to be very helpful. Circle rules. Okay. Well, image search. Someone said.
So if we go
Oh,
down
hey,
and
look,
find
this
something
looks
that matches
convenient.
our situation.
Nah, not really that convenient, I guess.
Go somewhere, find something that matches our situation. Like scroll down a bunch. Mr. Hudson, scroll down.
I was here, so hold on.
Or no, wait, go back up. You saw something. You saw something there.
Wait, you didn't go. Oh, look.
What is that?
What does it say?
Notice that if I find a useful picture, it has to link from somewhere. Now, not normally, Google often pulls images off YouTube. So if I went to this and I wanted to see, like, well, okay, where'd this come from? Came from a person's YouTube video about circles.
Oh, that's
So-
that
You
is
ever
a
looked
stock
up an
image
image and found
intro.
your own image?
Yeah, but it's a pretty dope intro.
Yeah,
No,
like
it's
I
very-
found my own images. So now wait, we talked about this yesterday, and this cross multiplication is a result of those ratios that we set up.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Oh.
The whole times the external.
So
A secant is from the outside crossing. So chord, right, is this section, but the secant is the whole thing, all of A.
I'm so confused. Steven, please help me.
Now, actually, I realized that I probably didn't teach this in the easiest way yesterday. If we go back to our chord theorem, I would rather us remember it like this. It's easier than the ratios. The products of the pieces. The products of the pieces are equal.
you relate this to the factor
4x
problem?
equals
Because I
5
wanna have
times.
The what problem?
For
Why does
easy.
this work?
Oh, yeah, so this, now that we know this, we can go back and look at 14. Say, okay, so
It's
15
5 times 15.
times 5 equals 4x times
X
4.
of 4.
Wait, what?
The
Wait, so-
whole...
It's
So-
not
It would be
4 plus
So
X.
the 4 plus
Oh, yeah, sorry, 4 plus x times 4.
So 4 plus sequent equals 4 plus sequent. Secant. Like the whole core. Yeah, it's times.
I'm going to write out the work. Answering your question seems dangerous right
I
now.
got it. I
Yeah.
get it.
So it'd be 15 times 5 plus.
Okay, yeah, I got that.
Wouldn't it just be 4 plus 4x? 24 plus 4 plus x. Yeah, 4
Your
times.
line is actually 35. No, actually
Yeah.
39 degrees, not 37.
What?
Your line is actually 39 degrees, not 37. The world will end.
No, he's using a protractor.
60, 59.
Oh no, it's 29.
Hey, bro, do
29.
75 minus 16.
It's
Oh, 59. Alright.
divided by 4. 14 you get 14.75.
How do you do inequalities with circles?
You don't.
With great passion and
You either make it greater than or equal to, greater than, less than, or less than.
Yeah, what is it? Just that.
So in C, easiest way to deal with this is the product of the pieces.
But it says
5x is equal to 33.
no, that's the thing.
That-
Wait, was that 35 over 5?
No, 6.6.
35 over 5 is 7.
Yeah, so it was 33 over 5. For C.
Yeah, so 5x equals 33.
Well, I learned a lot of new circle rules today.
Okay,
None
now
of
I
them are
see-
fun and I
Oh, I
don't like
did.
them.
I already got that.
I can do equations. Wait, so for,
They're all awful.
Wait,
for inequality,
now-
can you just like make, can you do anything?
B compared to C, I still, for my personal, like, in my brain, I still remember it as product of pieces, but it's not like piece and piece, it's the whole thing, and then the outside piece. So however you need to remember it, C, product of the pieces, each part. B, product of whole length and exterior. So then somebody was asking for 13.
Yes,
Shouldn't
it-
it be like 20.5, not 31?
For what?
For angle E.
Where? In 13?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm nowhere close to with you. Like, you gotta give me a moment.
Weird.
You're asking questions I just don't have the answer to yet.
Yeah, it's weird.
Lots of things.
Well, I mean, yes, but pretty soon we're going to be going and we're going to be doing homework and the reviews are going to be quadratics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember doing non-quadratic equations, and that just seems like,
So easy now.
Yeah.
like what is the slope of this? Oh,
So,
please bring
what
me
you're
back.
recognizing is your personal growth.
Don't make this a teaching.
It was so difficult then, but now it's just like, please, can I do some slope?
E
I want the slope.
EH,
And then Saki was complaining this
53 degrees. FG
Alright.
is 41.
So,
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. This is extremely pixelated.
And it's really,
Yeah.
really not correct either.
What do you mean it's really, really not?
It's really, like,
that's
that in-
not 50.
that's
Yeah.
like not,
That's not 53 G.
the HG
Okay.
is like 127.
Trust
Yeah.
the math, not what it looks like.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
27, and then the other one is a weed.
So,
Is HG 30? No, it's 120.
it's circle O. So HG needs to pick up the rest of our diameter arc. Right? So this is going to be 100.
Oh, I don't know how to do this.
27, sorry. And then the other one will be 139.
And then to
How
find
is
out
angle E 41?
Because on the thing.
The thing-
Wait, wait.
41.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't
Shouldn't
it
it
be-
be 20.5?
Yeah, shouldn't it be 20.5?
So if your paper has
Wait.
41, that's wrong. This is half,
Yeah.
right? Because it's
That's right.
it's
Yeah.
inscribed.
But
it's going to be half the arc measure.
Okay.
Now, if it came from the center and caught that arc,
Oh, that means
that would be 41.
That's what it said in the answer.
What?
It said in the answer sheet. It said it was 41.
Yeah.
Okay, it's wrong.
We just said
Yeah.
this.
We'll
What
tell
is the answer
CPM
key?
that it's wrong.
It's so annoying and foolish.
Christian,
So
what was
you
meant
should
to
have
be-
enough confidence to be able to look at the answer key and be like, yeah, no, that's a mistype. That's
I looked at it. It was
You're
like
telling
maybe
us
I'm
what
missing
the answer
something.
key did
The
be on
answer
is
key
Yeah.
is what the answers are. So I should probably
Okay.
do what the answer key said.
Mr. Hudson,
yes.
how would you find out angle P? Would that just be?
How do you do on the?
Oh wait, would that be half?
angle?
If you talk
Would that be half of
these
127?
are the answers you should.
P,
It
no.
wouldn't be half of one.
It would be.
It's half if it's on the circle. So if it's
Oh, it's
inscribed,
not. Yeah.
if we're looking at this, it's going to be half of your 53. Right? So this would be 20. That's really thick.
26. That's definitely not triangle.
No, I'm just asking how you got P.
Yeah.
You can do the
47.
other angle and then do something.
Yeah, we can add lines. We can draw more.
What do you mean the other angle?
Actually, what I did was
We
I
could
split
connect
up
these. We could connect these.
Make a mess.
We
Hey,
can make a
Jacob.
mess.
I added
Jacob,
6
Jacob, that's not
triangles.
good time.
third
You're
AM. That's not
we could
You're
draw
on
it
this
together.
word. I meant it.
Other questions?
No.
You know
Um,
I like it.
Other questions from the worksheet?
15C.
It's just
15C.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We got 15.
This one was weird. It wasn't very descriptive in what it was meaning.
It's totally the rating.
It's like along the other line. It's like
You have a radius
It's
of
along
2,
the line.
and it's like
Which line?
change it to the.
It's on the line. There's all kinds of.
Wait
Just
a
as the center is
second.
on the line. I didn't understand.
This
is that on the
answer-
x-axis? Is that on the what? And then
The
it
two
tells
and
you
the
it's
four
4 and
can be
Missing
Yeah.
something?
It can be a combination.
Oh, I just copied from the answer kit and tried to figure it out myself, but the center didn't make sense to me.
What was even our answer key answer on? And 16 doesn't
minus
exist.
the whole squared plus.
How can it be on the line?
Plus
if
4.
The center is.
Or. X plus 2 whole squared over y plus 4.
It was
I bet
so
it
vague.
means x-axis and it might be open.
It is.
Yeah, this is an OR situation.
Yeah, but
You guys know
it
this.
says 2, 4, but it also says the center's on the line.
yeah, so
How
it would
is
be
that
2,
possible?
0.
What line?
It would be x minus 2 squared plus y squared equals 4. Or yeah, equals 4.
This problem might just be. So I pulled these from a bank. Like I did not write that
It's
problem.
just something.
It might be goofed
Oh,
up.
that's foolish. No, I don't like. I don't like when things are foolish. It makes me sad.
It is anything equals 4.
I hate this.
Self-love
I
is
cry to
important,
sleep
Chris.
every night.
Oh, that's
It doesn't work.
If it's just saying.
That's the chapter, Thomas, you're right. It doesn't work. Usually, I can't cry too well.
Difficulty advanced.
Put
Wow.
contacts in.
That's a hard question.
Yeah, that's why I gave it
have
to you.
contacts in them. I'm
Contacts
used
don't make
contacts.
you no wonder we can get
They
it
don't
right.
make me cry anymore.
Steve,
So
contacts-
this
They don't make you cry, but the contacts do.
Yeah, they do.
Kind of.
Yeah. The one.
is relating to a different line. It's talking about some line. Like I bet you somebody edited this problem and accidentally chopped off the end of the sentence.
Okay, that
So I bet you don't have enough info for C. Your C is like a freebie. Now if I was looking at this and I was just trying to like figure out, oh, how do I do this? I would probably use the line as like the x-axis.
Yeah, that's what I did originally.
So
Me too.
yeah, I would just have it on the x-axis, tangent to the y, and there's still 2 locations, but still the answer key would be wrong in that case. Which happens. CPM is great, but it has some mistakes. Other questions from the worksheet, aside from the fact that we have found there are a couple errors.
How do we escape from the Duolingo owl?
The what?
You don't.
The Duolingo owl.
You can never escape Chris Gopher.
There's no
My family's.
Where's what?
I can't just do the lessons. I don't have time.
If you could grab a piece of paper for notes, please. We'll chat for like 15 minutes.
Ooh, there's only 15 minutes left.
Paper
Well, yeah, I know.
That's what he just said.
Thanks, snarky 8th grader.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm almost 9.
Guys.
Hey. I said almost.
5.5 months.
I said almost. I said I am. I said
Foolish more.
Hush now, you fool.
young fool.
Both of you can it. We have like 15 minutes.
Do you really want to do that?
Yes.
I've been to protect you now. Wingle out for saving me from my kidnappers. You still haven't learned Spanish. You die when I say you can die.
Wait, is it lingo like a Spanish?
El muerto. You dead. Or actually, two muerto.
It would be.
You dead.
It would be Alan Move.
That's you lunch.
No.
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 No,
Alan
because
Ware-
he ended it. It had the wrong ending.
Omae wa mou shinderu.
Nani?
What's not Mr. Hudson?
It's a nice that
It's
he's gonna
a
use.
piece of a triangle. Only if you make it so.
He's the pickaxe.
It's a side.
He's the Grim Reaper.
Where did he go? No, he's the Happy Reaper. Look at the colors. He's the Happy Reaper.
That's so cool.
What did I miss?
I like it.
You missed the Happy Reaper.
I like this a lot. Math class is awesome.
I went to get a drink
You
and I
know-
missed sensation.
We could change this a lot if you just change one letter and make him the Grim Creeper.
Yes, from
You see a lot worse.
It's like looking out the window. So, I was trying to think of how to relate this to your life, but I don't know.
I'm not sure if I want you to.
If you read through a book series,
I won't.
I do.
Make it manga.
it
Oh, you
might
wait.
matter what order we go in. Like, pretty sure if I read Hunger Games 3 before I read Hunger Games 1,
Yeah.
I might be confused at the, like, odd tension between Katniss and Peeta. And for this, in mathematics, we've invented two different words. Now, one makes sense, it's combinations, and we're just talking about groups, how many ways we can combine things. But the other is a word that is,
It's
like,
permutation.
seemingly just completely made up.
It's
Permutations.
like where order matters.
Where
It's
order
right there.
matters. So if you could please, on your notes paper, write down permutations, and then we're seriously just right off of it going to say order matters. So if I'm ordering a pizza, I'm probably not going to tell them I first want the pepperonis placed on there, then I would
the
like the
cheese.
sausage, then
Then
the
the
bacon,
cheese, yes.
and then the cheese. Otherwise, I'm
And
not
then
paying.
sauce
for it.
on the top.
Yes.
And then bread.
So now, actually, some Chicago places do that.
That
Oh.
sounds absolutely.
Oh, it sounds like a hint. Oh, it wouldn't be messy.
And then the bread on
Now.
top of that.
Dave, I did not know that this happened.
No.
Sports gambling is legal in Baltimore, where Dave, my buddy, used to live. So he, on the NCAA, has a, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a game they're playing where the single digits, the ones digits of the games, winner, loser, you bet on what those number combinations are going to be. And you have to get it winner, loser. You get loser, winner, doesn't count, right? So he's got like an 8 and a 6 and something like that, and he keeps missing by like 1 point.
How
But-
bad is your bracket doing?
My bracket's great. Mr. Hall and I are in competition with each other. One of us is going to win. Like, we're going to take first, second. Between the math teachers, we've got it on lock.
You are
So-
the only two math teachers.
I know. I said between the math teachers, we got it on lock. Like,
So-
we're owning this thing.
Wait, Mr. Hudson, have you actually like looked at the probability of winning? Like getting correct?
I mean, I can show you guys my bracket in a minute if you want.
It's incredibly low.
Oh, getting the whole thing right?
Yeah.
The problem also is it's not a 50-50 chance on the games.
Yeah.
There are things that play into the probability. Even games where one team might have been weighted heavier than the other team could win. And hence the upset. But, like, that's where the probability of it's very hard to actually calculate accurately. So, when you go to crack someone's password, right, you're trying combinations of numbers, but once you start typing them in, it's a permutation. So, if somebody tells you, my password's my birthday, but you don't know if it's day, month, year, month, day, year, day, month, like, you still got options to try. Yeah, backwards, right, or like rearrange. Somebody tells you, like, hey, we have this lockbox thing, and the password's the address. And you try the address, and it's what, like 1327.
Is this where factorial comes into play?
So this is where we start thinking about how many opportunities do we have. And this, the lesson we skipped, 12.1.1, goes back to the fundamental counting principle.
Wait, why are we skipping units 10 11?
Because we talked about this yesterday.
Oh, yeah,
We literally
the
have a
test.
concise list of what we need to cover to make sure that we're comfortable for the test.
24.
I swore to repeat myself professionally.
It shows.
If we have the options 0 through 9, like any standard pin, and we're going to use a 4-digit pin because that's normally what we have to use, how many options are there?
Lots of that.
only 24?
What?
26.
If they're, oh wait, I thought it was just 0, 1, 2, and 9.
Now, the dot means all the way up to.
So we have 10
Oh,
different
okay,
digits.
factorial.
We have
6
10 digits.
No,
So we do 10 factorial.
Oh, yeah, 10
No,
factorial.
you
How'd you
can't.
get that?
Let's do 10 factorial.
You can't do that because it only is 4. So it's 10
Yeah,
times
'cause
8
you can
times
use the number
10
more
times
than
9
once.
times 8 times 7, and then it doesn't do that.
You can use the numbers more than once.
Can you use the numbers more than that?
Cannot repeat a digit.
Okay, well.
See? You
So
can.
we
I was waiting for you to get to that argument.
5,000.
Oh,
Excuse me.
crap.
So,
It is 10 factorial.
if
No, it's not. Wait, what?
if we could use the numbers more than once,
No, it just be 909. Oh, wait, no, 9,000.
or we could more concisely say the number of options to the power of how many we're choosing.
No.
But it's not that simple here, because Jasper's Bank, for some reason, says that he cannot repeat any digits. So if I choose a 7 here, I cannot choose a 7 here.
Like they're trying to make it less secure.
so it's 7 9. So it'd be like 10 9 8 7. So
10, 9, 8, 7. Now people were bringing up 10 factorial.
Is that
No,
like
I'm
1
just
times 2
saying,
times 3
if
times
there was 10,
Yeah.
if
It was a
10
10 digit
digit,
thing.
Now,
10 digit,
challenge.
bleh.
How could I use 10 factorial
If it's 10 digit,
with this problem?
If it were a 10 digit thing.
With this problem. What else would I need to do to
10
be able
factorial
to
minus
use
Divide
6
it-
factorial.
divided by 6 factorial.
Not divided by minus.
It would be
minus?
Divided
or
by.
divided by?
It would be
Divided
divided
by.
by.
No, it'd be
You're
minus.
multiplying
No.
all the other ones.
You
Yeah,
multiply.
divided by. Yeah.
Divided
You
by
get 6 from.
6 factorial.
Where do we get 6 from?
After the 7
After
and
the
6.
7.
If you're cutting down from 10.
What is
10,
that?
9, 8, 7,
6.
8.
5.
1 2 3 4.
Okay, I wonder if we can formalize this into like some kind of rule.
Let's formalize it.
I wonder if there's a rule.
Are you trying to find out if I
You take the most.
Yeah.
So are
Probably
you
no
sure
factorial.
that you
It could be
are...
factorial. You take it where you have the most possible things.
We might do
So
it.
you divide it by.
Now wait. Then the bank, being very annoying, was like, actually, we've had a malfunction with our machine. The 0 doesn't work anymore. You cannot use 0 in your pin.
9
like,
factorial.
I might only get money.
Divided by 5.
Okay. Well, so
9.
now I can't use 0.
It'll be 9 divided by 5. 9
So
factorial.
you need to do
Oh my god, you know what I mean?
No, we don't.
You can't have 3 and a half halves.
6 and then we do 9 factorial divided by 5.
Also 9 divided by 5.
I know, I'm just like, just 1 point.
Oh, it's 4 digits.
What if they tell him to make it 5 digits now, though, because he can't use the 0, so we'll put another digit on.
9
factorial.
factorial divided by 4 factorial.
Make it a full. That's
Perfect.
14.
looks...
Why is it times 65? There's no.
Okay.
That's a very nice
You're seemingly getting pretty good.
Are we?
Break down right now.
Permutation, technical definition, aside from just order matters.
Whoa, that's a lot of words.
Order of
That's
selection.
right.
But what we want to write, the whole, I wonder if we can formalize it.
Order of selection.
N permutate R,
What's that?
or
NPR.
NPR, not National Public Radio.
Wow.
N permutate R says you have N objects we want to arrange this many of them. R of them, right? So n permutate r, in technicality, is n factorial over the difference between n and r factorial. R is how many we are going to choose. So, now how many like spots we have to fill. So like we had 10 digits to start. We chose 4 for the password. That'd be 10 permutate 4. Mid?
So we could do like, so for this problem we could go 10 permutate
Why does she have a
4
giant ball of
equals
twine?
10 factorial over 10
There's a giant
minus
ball of twine
4 factorial. We get
at the end of 12 one more.
Are we good?
Yes.
Let's do homework.
Yeah.
Why would we do homework right now?
We have 3 minutes left.
Because that makes you faster, not
5
do it
minutes.
later.
We have 6 minutes left.
We just always leave early.
I'm going to start treating you the same way I'm treating my reading kids now. The more you push to leave early, the more I push to keep
I
you
know,
here the
I
whole
said
time.
the number wrong.
I remember, I was in your reading.
So, 52 contestants enter a logo design challenge, which if my grant gets approved, I may be coming to you guys for a logo. That or I can bug my sister because
Oh, what?
can do that. A logo for I have a grant submitted for disc golf stuff for the whole district, so that our wellness classes can teach it and stuff. If the grant gets approved, we get custom discs. So the stamp on the top is whatever we want it to be.
I thought you were gonna be like, you make a picture.
I don't have a
No,
factorial.
I still kind of like the disc saying like Worthington Flyers, saying WTS.
Just use your
So we want first, second,
We do
and
not
third
say that here,
place.
Mr. Hudson.
What, Worthington Flyers?
What
I think
the
that's
frick?
100% appropriate.
Surrounded by children.
Led by a children.
Also, why do you say we're the children?
A children.
Just 2 kids stacked up.
So what situation are we doing here then? If we have 52 contestants, first, second, and third place. Chris?
We do 52p 3 equals 52 factorial over 52 minus 3, which is 49 factorial.
Honestly.
This is how many different possible.
How many different possible first, second, and third options there are?
Say for us.
And it's huge.
Wait. Say for us first, second, and fourth. We're still determining.
Yes. Because we'd be picking, but I don't understand why that would happen, but sure.
Well, this is going to be like a hard one. Like
Let's do 100 quadrillion factorial.
Well, there wouldn't be 100
Oh,
places.
yes.
Because there should have 2 of them. Unless you're just trying to be really mean.
Yeah.
Your work was so bad, you get
Last
placed
place
behind
gets
you.
1,000.
Now, conveniently enough, your calculator actually has a button to do this.
Yeah.
So I would be remiss if I did not show you where that is. Yes. We're not actually going to do it, and we don't have very much time.
It doesn't have a calculator. It doesn't have.
Anyone know where it is?
Just a
No.
graphic calculator, probably.
It's in
It's the ND.
Math?
Wait, you're using one
I
of
can't
those?
read that. Can't read.
Bright
Yeah.
no work. I see black lines.
Hit math. You go to probability, and it is right there. Now the issue is, if I just go hit that, well, what is it doing?
Nothing.
What is my error? Oh, I need some numbers. So if we 15, 3, or no, we said 52.
That five.
What was that?
132,600.
Yay!
Big number.
You can't do that on these calculators.
Yeah, it's just a graphic calculator.
I know I'm talking to you.
Now, if we talk combinations, how many different groups of 3 people, but we don't care about places. Would we have more combinations or less combinations?
More.
If we don't care about the order of the winners, a lot less. If you don't care about order, it's less specific. When we get more specific, we have more options. So permutations versus combinations, as you get into solving problems on both sides of so we have 10 books to put on the shelf. How many different groupings or what? We have 100 books. We're choosing 10 to display. Versus we have to put them in an order: first, second, third, fourth. You're going to end up with a lot more permutations. On that note, we will go ahead and let you out early.
Yes, but what about home?